Hello and welcome back to Political Reacts. This is where a new series that I'm doing, where we look at specifically protests and political songs and react to them. And instead of just reacting to them musically, which we will do, of course, we also look at kind of the political message and the activism and the thoughts behind them, and how effective they are at communicating, their political ideology as well as moving people towards action or protest or activism in some way, which I think is a unique and fun way of looking at these songs. Hopefully it's something different. If you happen to search this song just because you're looking for another person reacting, hopefully this is something different than what other reactors are doing, and at the same time, not so different that it becomes cringe. Who knows? I don't know. Tell me how cringe I am in the comments. I welcome it all. um so I'm kind of looking at two things when judging these songs. The first thing I'm looking at is musicality. Does it feel empowering? Does it feel like it makes you? Does it invoke an emotion? Right. And the second thing I'm looking at is lyrics. Now, when I look at the lyrics, I'm less concerned with, though it's cool when there's like bars or like lyrics that really hit your soul. Those are all good, but I'm also looking at lyrics for, do they stay on message? Do they invoke a call to action? Which is, I mean, you would think is the point of a political or protest song is to get people to do something. If they just, if it's emotional enough, that can be enough, right? So it's kind of a subjective experience. It totally is. But I do my best to kind of look at them. Now, I rank songs from an S tier, followed by A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, right? S being the absolute pinnacle, followed by A, B, C, and D, D being the worst. Now, here's some examples that I think are S tier. BYOB, Bring Your Own Bombs by System of a Down, Police State by Dead Prez, and though I'm not the biggest fan always, I do love Tom McDonald's Sad Rappers. I think all of these are songs that are expert at kind of staying on message, engaging you to go do something. Great lyrics, great musicality. It's kind of the whole thing. These are the S tier songs. Without further ado, I want to get into Hi-Rez's remix of Richmond, North of Richmond. Of course, we did Chris Webby's, we did the original. This is kind of the thing that everybody's talking about and everybody's remixing. So I think it's a good kind of intro to it. Probably tomorrow I'm going to drop Timcast's Will of the People. So stay tuned for that. I think I might have heard that like when it came out, or maybe only heard some of it. I don't remember if I actually listened to it or not. I think what I did is listen to like 30 seconds of it or something, or maybe saw part of it on Twitter and was like, ugh. So I I don't know, maybe some more time, step back, listen to the whole thing. Maybe I'll have a better understanding. But I seem to remember only listening to like a little bit and being thoroughly unimpressed. That being said, Hi-Rez is pretty good. Chris Webby did a remix, and that remix was we gave that an A tier, and I gave the original Richmond North of Richmond an S tier. So let's see how Hi-Rez stacks to Chris Webby as well as the original. I'm excited to see. So without further ado, let's get going. I know I've already said that twice, but sometimes a phrase just kind of sticks in. And it's just kind of there. I know you guys are along with the ride for me, so let's go. Let's see what we're cooking. Is the volume working?
I've been selling my soul.
Okay, I felt stupid. All right,
I've been selling my soul, working all day, double time hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here, waste my.
Okay, look, I liked a little bit when Chris Webby up pitched it and sped it up a little bit. This is too much. I mean, like maybe once like you start the 808s kicking in, you get some snares, you get some bass, maybe like there's a complete remix of the beat, but this sounds jarring to the ears upon first. It's pitched up too much in my opinion.
Bullshit pay, so I can sit out here, waste my life away, drag back home and drink my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is.
Yeah, again, this like little dancing flag thing, like it like silent hype man over a way too overpitched original is bothering me. It's bothering me. This is a very bad beginning. But I mean, let's see how it is once it kicks in.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. The media is doing its job and it's clearly working. Got us arguing over what is a woman when that's just certain. We distract.
Oh my god, it's so. Oh, this is bad. It's the beat is so busy. There's too much going on, and I have a fairly decent set of headphones. I mean, obviously they're Bluetooth, but I mean Steel Series. You know, I've got them dialed in. I've got an equalizer on them. So I mean, like maybe it's not the perfect sound. I don't think this would sound any better on the speakers though. Honestly, this beat is way too busy. There's too much going on from that drop to this. This
Working, got us arguing over what is a woman when that's just certain. We distracted from the fact that average men and women hurting, but they keep on saying this economy is doing perfect. When I finally get ahead, Uncle Sam bring me back. Caught up in this rat race, they money laundering our tax. They only show you when a white cop gon' shoot a man that's black, and then they'll cancel you and ban you if you start speaking facts. When you
I mean, I get the general frustration here, and like so like I know that this is a personal thing for me, but like I don't like when political songs or protest songs kind of just do this thing where they just throw out a bunch of bullet points and see what sticks, right? And so like this is trying to grab the populist message of Richmond north of Richmond. But Richmond north of Richmond sounds like whether it is or not, people are arguing whether Oliver Anthony is like real or whatever. I think he's a good bloke from everything I've seen. But his sounds like a genuine working class struggle position, you know. And Chris Webby's was an artist that's pissed off at the censorship and the inability to speak, right? And he weaved a web of like bullet point kind of thing, but there was a theme. This sounds like there's no theme, like this was slapped together, and like Hi-Rez had plenty of time to work on this, right? Like this song's been popping off for a while. So it's not like he just did this the next day. This was released 6 hours ago? Yeah, 6 hours ago. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not a fan of this so far. The beat's too busy. Like what are the lyrics here? Let's go through the lyrics real quick. Let me
working, got us arguing.
Just wake
Yeah, let me go through the lyrics of this first verse.
up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is.
Yeah. The media is doing its job and it's clearly working. Got us arguing over what is a woman when that's just certain.
Right, so the media is doing its job and it's clearly working. Got us arguing over what is a woman when that's just certain. Sure, yeah, like the media is doing the job of the state. It is, as part of the cathedral from like a Mencius Moldbug perspective. And it's distracting us from like the really important things like inflation. They're lying about it, right? He says that, coming up. But it's like, what is a woman when that's just certain? It's like, I get it, but like there's a lot to that debate. Obviously, I'm married to that a little bit as someone that's interviewed multiple D-trans people. You can check out those interviews on my channel. I actually need to update the interview section, make sure that all the interviews are in the interview playlist. But nevertheless, it's a complicated thing. This idea that's like and that's just certain. You know what I mean? Like obviously, it's kind of hinting towards adult human female definition, which is a silly definition by my perspective. I think that's just people accepting radical feminism and not realizing that because the TERFs are against trans people. But like it's a throwaway line here. I don't know. I don't get it. Like just talk about the media, talk about censorship, right? This is like some like elbow nudge to like the conservatives to be like, see, we all know reality, unlike these other people. And it's silly and simplistic. And it's not. I mean, I will say this though. It is music that speaks to a certain base of people. So that might be good for them. trying to pull my bias out of this a little bit.
We distracted from the fact that average men and women hurting, but they keep on saying this economy is doing perfect.
I mean, again, here, kitchen table issues. It's like the most trot out freaking political thing ever, right? It's just like real men and women and families are sitting down at the kitchen table. Like, all right.
When I finally get ahead, Uncle Sam bring me back. Caught up in this rat race, they money laundering our tax. They only show you when the white cop gon' shoot a man that's black, and then they'll cancel you and ban you if you start speaking facts. When you
Okay, so at least that's self-referential to the media, right? Like at least he ties it back to the media at the beginning, which is a little bit better. I didn't catch that the first time. Like I caught it, but I didn't think about it in the song structure that like he's referencing the media lying and doing this thing. And so maybe this is a kind of like a social media cathedral kind of like prominent message, social media all kind of compiled together, and how there's a predominant narrative and we are struggling against that narrative. And if he ties that back, this will upgrade the song a little bit, but still do not like the musical structure of it so far.
can't afford your house and you can't afford a meal, and politicians only care about you every 4 years. Ignore your blood, sweat, and tears. They don't care about how you feel. Evil people want to see the nuclear family disappear.
I've been selling my soul.
Yeah, okay, so it doesn't, right? Hold on.
And tears, they don't care about how you feel. Evil people want to see the nuclear family disappear.
Yeah, so here we go. Evil people want to see the nuclear family disappear. This isn't referential to the media. This is just a kind of like a general conservative frustration. First of all, the nuclear family sucks. It was never good. It was always, kind of like from like a Durkheimian perspective enemy, right? It was always an isolation from a larger family of grandmothers and grandparents and like a village where the men went off and did this and the women went off and did this. I mean, there's a reason the feminist, literature of Yellow Wallpaper and the feminine mystique, were so successful in galvanizing women that felt trapped in an idea of a nuclear family in a suburb away from the family. Like the nuclear family was always kind of like the lowest possible thing that could kind of work. And yeah, he's right that like people are going after the nuclear family, no fault divorces and government subsidization of divorce and child support and things like that. And, kind of a general hedonism that began in the 1960s that, tends, along with birth control, that tends to kind of create a lot of accidental families and a lot of, breakups and things like that. It was, when the fatherlessness rate is huge and things like that. And there's a certain feminist narrative now that paints men as evil in the MGTOW. There's all this back and forth, but like evil people want to see the nuclear family disappear. Again, it's a throwaway line of it feels like it feels like his verse is a country chorus, right? Like, and when I say that, you know what I mean? Like a pop country chorus song. It doesn't feel like he's really speaking to anything in general other than just, I'm mad at media and social media and the narrative and the left.
Selling my soul, working all day.
And again, this is way too up-pitched. I do not like this. Like he could, I don't know. Maybe I'm being a hater. I don't know. I did bad vibes for me so far.
Double time hours, bullshit pay, so I can sit out here, waste my life away, drag back home and drink my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to. For people like me, people like you, wish I could just wake up.
I can't. This like weird awkward dancing in the video too is distracting. Like, wish I could just wake up, and he does like a sleepy thing. He's like, yeah, he's like a silent hype man on the screen, and I don't understand it. Whereas, Oliver Anthony was the entire thing, so it's okay that it was him. But even then, there was some camera pans and switches. With Chris Webby's version that we saw, he understood during his remix that he wasn't the focus any longer. And so, what he did instead was kind of create and well, not create, I should say, copy and pay homage to the original with like showing his dog and showing the wooded area that he was in, etc. Whereas this one, he's just kind of in a field in the woods, and there isn't an homage to like the camera angles or the artwork, right? Chris Webby's was certainly better from a cinematography perspective. Though to be fair, I don't know what kind of resources Webby has versus Hi-Rez. You know what I mean? So it might not be fair to judge them in the same regard. No, F that. There's a final product, and the final product on Webby's was much better.
I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is.
I heard Oliver singing, and like the world, I felt his passion. I can't do this beat justice, hope you don't mind the rapping. Government officials in they mansions.
I'll give him respect for that, right? Like, I'll give him respect that he's like, look, this is just my thing that I'm trying to do. I'm trying to add to this. You know, I heard your passion. I loved it. You know, I can't really do this beat justice, but like, I hope you don't mind the rapping. Like, I do. I give respect to that. At least he knows that it's mid.
Government officials in they mansions just laughing, but they only make $100K a year. How'd that happen? I couldn't even get to see my grandma before she died, cause the media was pushing fear to everyone in line, kept it bottled up inside. Mom and dad got fired. I saw.
So, again, what is this? Right? Like, he mentions COVID lockdown and COVID hysteria, and then he tries to bring it back to the media, but it's a throwaway line again. It's not picked apart. It's like he has a theme and then he gave up on the theme to try and get like one-liners and bars that don't quite hit. I mean, the one line here, what was it? About how like politicians make millions but they only make $100K a year. That was a good line. Like, I'll give him that. That's a good line because it is a genuine question of like, how does someone have a salary of like $120K and they make something? So make a song about that, right? Like, you know what I mean? Give me some specifics. I know rap kind of tends towards this anyways, right? Like, but like I said, I gave in my intro an example. Sad Rappers does a great job of this. Sad Rappers picks a lane, stays in that lane for the whole song, or maybe even like a pocket, whatever you want to call it, stays in it and makes you feel that message. So by the end of the song Sad Rappers, you see a genuine connection between the pharmaceutical industry and as large corporations and the nepotism and corporate kind of cathedral relationship between them and executives that work in the music industry, and how they push messages that destroy our culture and our communities for certain things. This is just kind of like throwing out random stuff. So it's like, yeah, do a song about that, right? Like, talk about how they make $100K a year. Talk about, shadow people who oh God, no, I can't think of the term when you shadow certain people. But like, there are people that shadow trade. I can't think of the right term right now for whatever reason. Like Paul Pelosi, right? It's like you can make a ton of money just following whatever Paul Pelosi does, or like Catherine from like ARC, right? You can follow these people, and granted, their stuff's not always public, so you might end up losing money in the end. But even then, you can usually gain money following these people because they insider trade and they act like they don't, and they all do. And like, you can talk about the fact that politicians write books that everybody buys, but like magically those books are really, really they're just flying off the shelves, but you ain't ever heard of anybody that read them, right? Like, how many people do you know actually read Obama's memoir? I mean, I read it, and I gave it to my mom when I was done with it because she was super into it. It was okay, but it's a ghost-written book that gets bought up by like some political favor somewhere, sits in a freaking warehouse, collects dust, and then it becomes a New York Times bestseller because a bunch of copies were bought, but they were just bought by some shell corporation somewhere as a political favor for backroom bullshit deals. Right? And we all know it, and we all kind of just accept it. But like, dig into something. I hate this. I'm very biased towards this bullet point kind of just throwing out general things. If you're gonna do it, then give me some bars. This one's an okay one, but I haven't seen any Maybe I'm missing it. Let me know in the comments if I'm missing it. But I haven't seen any double entendres, and the lyrics are on the screen. Usually when you put the lyrics on the screen, like I'm expecting Coast Contra stuff, right? Like I'm expecting self-referential lyrics with like doubles and triples and like different meanings. And I want one word capitalized with like parentheses with the rest of the words so I can be like, oh, that was a bar. Like give me some bars if you're going to put the lyrics on the screen and you're going to do bullet point political frustration. As of right now, it's like you're throwing a bunch of darts and just kind of seeing which one lands. And because of that, the song isn't landing to me.
Laughing, but they only make 100K a year. How'd that happen? I couldn't even get to see my grandma before she died, because the media was pushing fear to everyone in line.
Yeah, this is another thing. I couldn't see my grandma before she died because this is I love Cat Turd. Do like the t-shirt though from Twitter. It's funny, the solidarity between, large conservative accounts and circle jerking each other on Twitter and like, there's no censorship online anymore because we're not censored. F Elon. Twitter is almost as bad as it was under Jack Dorsey. Just saying. But it's like he's referencing the media lying and propagating fear. But it was like it's the state and the government that kept you from seeing your grandma, and like tie those two together. Don't just like throw them out separated. Like I get it, and I'm sure the listener does get it, right? I don't want to insult anybody's intelligence. I think you get when he's saying that there's like media hysteria that was being pushed, and everybody was working together, and all these crazy people were supporting politicians, and that manufactured consent from Noam Chomsky's kind of perspective was then pushed into such a way that like governors felt strong-armed by their own population and corporate interests to continue to support lockdown measures. I get that. I understand that that's there, but pull it apart a little bit or make a bar about it. Don't just like mash two concepts together and then leave it unanswered. It's bad. It's just bad writing.
Kept it bottled up inside. Mom and dad got fired. I saw a grown man locked in their houses and take their lives. I saw families divided at the dinner table fighting. If you didn't trust the science, then you probably hate the climate. Wear a mask, wear 12 babies, just a clump of cells.
I'm trying to see if there's a bar in there somewhere. Wear a mask, wear 12. Is this like I'm trying to see bars. Like, is this like 12? Like F12? Are we talking about the police state? Like, is there something there? Or are we just rhyming and referencing things we remember from the pandemic now? Because if that's what we're doing, bleh.
I saw families divided at the dinner table fighting. If you didn't trust the science, then you probably hate the climate. Wear a mask, wear 12 babies.
I mean, I do kind of like the little bit of the flow switcher. If you didn't, blah, blah, blah. Like he's kind of getting a little bit playful with it. But even then, there's no flow switches or like change in cadence. There's a little bit of like change in like tenor and in tone. I don't know what the appropriate term for that would be within hip hop, but nevertheless, there's a little bit of that, but I don't know, man. Ugh.
Hate the climate.
He's got a minute and 7 seconds to sell me on this song, and I don't think it's happening.
Wear a mask, wear 12 babies, just a clump of cells. A society with no regard for life is going to hell.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, double time hours, for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here, waste my life away, drag back home and drink my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to, for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wait.
Dude, what is he doing with this flag? Like what? Like, I don't understand the I don't understand this whole like the chorus is playing, and the video is just him like. Why? Why are you the chorus's 90s like fucking Flavor Flav? What are you doing?
Wake up and it not be true, but it is. All it is. I've been selling my soul, working all day, double time hours, for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here, waste my.
So then you end by making your way too busy up uh, remix even busier with like your layered vocals over top of it. Well, I guess underneath it to a certain degree in terms of pitch, but oh God, this is so bad.
My life away, drive back home and drink my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to. For people like me, people like you, wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is.
Whew. All right. Yeah, I give that a D. I give that a D. That was trash. Sorry to any fans out there. To me, that was just. I still haven't watched Breathe and Stop. It keeps trying to be like, you want to listen to this. Yes, I do. On my own time, YouTube. Yeah, no, this was bad. I mean, the beat was too busy. It was up like it was pitched up just too much, so that it was like grating on your ears as soon as it started, and then instead of and then it just added a bunch of layers that didn't need to be there to fill it out. The ending where he like joined in made that even worse. I don't like he could have pulled part of the track out maybe and then added in his vocals, right? Like he could have but instead it was just like mashed together. There's a bunch of noises coming together. It was not good. Like the melody, like there was so many layers to it. I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent for no reason. That part was trash. The rapping, it wasn't bad per se, right? It just wasn't good. There wasn't any bar that stuck out to me. I like tried to listen for like any bars. Maybe I missed them. Again, let me know in the comments section. But you put the lyrics on the screen, it makes it pretty easy to see if there are bars there or not. And I didn't hear or see any bars. There was this awkward like, yeah, dancing, that like distracted from what was a good chorus on Oliver Anthony's part, but you made it sound bad. You took something that was good and made it bad, which is an insult to the original. Webby did the same thing, but Webby's was much more toned down. And then when he changed the beat, he just added some bass and he just added like a kick 808 like every now and then, right before a snare that like signaled a transition. Right. So it was subtle. It made it hip hop, but it was subtle. This was over the top. Like it felt like I was watching VH1 music top 10 music videos and one of the hip hop songs came on in like 2005. Like I was just expecting like just random things to occur for like this club music hit. And this is not a club song. This is a stretched out, passionate song that makes you feel the plight of a working man. And Webby's, his remix was it wasn't quite that. It was more of like an understanding of censorship. And again, Webby's had a little bit of a theme throughout it. This one seemed like it was trying to have a theme. Maybe. It might just be coincidence. But it seemed like maybe he was getting at the idea that like media was a problem. But I barely saw it. So because of that, I think the lyrics were all over the place. I think the musicality of it was actually like, I want to give it like an F tier. It was just bad. You took a great song and you made it bad. The flow, the cadence, there was no switch ups. There was no complexity to the rap in any way, shape, or form, be it in any way that you could make it good, other than like one section where you were kind of mocking in the way that you changed your tone, the way that he changed his tone and tenor. It was all over the place. I don't know what the theme is. I don't know what this is supposed to be. other than just latching on to the success of Richmond, north of Richmond, to get your name out there and to throw breadcrumbs, because it certainly wasn't any type of meal, to conservatives that are angry at the media and the left in general, without actually ever taking a stake on a positive position that you want to fight for. So this, to me, honestly, it felt like the song of a grifter. It felt like the anthem of someone that doesn't care about music and doesn't care about politics and all of what's going on, but instead was attempting to just farm clicks and clout. So I'm giving it a D, and it almost offends me how bad this was. That's my final thing. If you disagree, tell me how stupid I am in the end. But yeah, no. Oliver Anthony's piece was a masterpiece. Chris Webby's was a perfectly great homage. Hi-Rez's seemed like he was trying to cash in on it and did so poorly.